Guys, I really apologize for that. My dad came in and he had to ask me something. So back at the point of the Immigration Act of 1924. So in 1924, the quota was reduced to 2%, which meant that if there was 10 Indians in 1890, only 2 could have immigrated to the US every year. And this really kicked off anti-American sentiment. And also, in American history, we see a common theme of racism and discrimination, and this is true in any nation, but we see an example of racism and discrimination here against the Japanese. The Immigration Act of 1924 banned Japan from sending over immigrants to the USA. Just a fun fact or something you need to know for your test, I don't know. Prohibition. What is prohibition? 1919, the 18th Amendment passed prohibition. Prohibition stated that it was illegal in the United States of America to have alcohol, to drink alcohol, or to possess alcohol. And we all know what happened. It failed because the 21st Amendment repealed prohibition. Franklin Delano Roosevelt repealed prohibition. But a side effect of the prohibition movement, and don't get me wrong, the prohibition movement, in my opinion, is a great movement, because I, for one, don't like alcohol. I will never drink, never want to drink, not even once in my life. But that's my personal, and once again, I'm not here to impose my beliefs or my morals on anybody. I'm just here to inform. So prohibition, a side effect was the rise of gangsterism. Now, we see gangsters today like the Oakland gangs, like drugs, but back then it was just alcohol, and in a way, alcohol was the drug. It wasn't like cocaine or like heroin or marijuana, but it was alcohol. And these gangsters, notably Al Capone in Chicago, he drove around in a limousines. He killed people for alcohol. He maimed people for alcohol, and a lot of terrible things. Yep, the golden age of gangsterism and all that. And a key trial that you will probably have to know is the monkey trial. The monkey trial was named that by H.L. Mencken, or Henry Louis Mencken. He was a satirist. Satirist. I think it's a satirist, not sure. But satirist, yeah. A satirist. No, sorry. A satirist. Here we go, satirist. Not a sadist, but a satirist. And he, and the trial was between, technically there were people involved as a defendant and prosecutor, but it was basically William Jennings Bryan, who you have heard many times, and Clarence Darrow. Clarence Darrow defended the doctrine that, that evolution can be taught in school, and William Jennings Bryan said, whoa, wait up. No, it's not conforming to our Christian background or Christian beliefs and all that. And actually, William Jennings Bryan won, but he died 1 week later because of all the stress it put at him. But Clarence Darrow ripped him, and like when I mean ripped, I don't mean like he took his shirt and ripped it with like a scissor or like whatever, but I mean that he like destroyed his arguments in court. And the only reason why William Jennings Bryan and the prosecution won, which was prosecuting a teacher for teaching evolution, was because the judge was fundamentalist and he was a Christian. And a Christian meaning a staunch Christian. Sorry, I had to think of the word. Okay, a mass consumption economy. America is historically known for mass consuming. We see today. Well, no, we don't, because everything is made in China. But back then, believe it or not, everything was made in America. I mean, a lot of stuff was made in USA. How about that? So, USA, what inventions did the USA contribute to the world? And the world, I mean to humanity. Well, the car by Henry Ford. The assembly line was perfected in the time of Henry Ford, and he perfected it, and he mass-produced the Model T car. The telephone, Thomas Alva Edison's phonograph, the telegraph was Samuel Morse. The telegraph was Samuel Morse. The light bulb, Thomas Edison. Nikola Tesla, direct current, alternating current instead of direct current was advocated by Edison, but Nikola Tesla said that alternating current is a lot more effective, and we use AC today. We don't use DC. DC is batteries, and AC is not batteries. It's more straightforward, plug in, plug out, whatever. And the Wright brothers, 1901, their first flight in Kitty Hawk. Charles A. Lindbergh, the flying fool who fled across the Atlantic to France, to Paris, France, from the USA, New York. Sorry, Guglielmo Marconi, who invented the radio and perfected the radio and perfected this idea of shortwave communication. I just had a brain fart there. Sorry, guys. And then we see movies and works such as F. Scott Fitzgerald's penultimate work, notably The Great Gatsby, which is basically a parody and a satire of American life in the 1920s. And that's basically all. And another thing is the Harlem Renaissance, which was this upspringing of culture which arose from Harlem, New York, and it was mostly piloted by African Americans. I was having like a yawn there, but I stifled it. And then we come to illusory disarmament, as is called in chapter 35. The bonus army, the Doughboys, was during this time. Sorry, the Doughboys was in World War II. The bonus army and the American Legion in Paris was founded by Colonel Theodore Roosevelt Jr. They basically re-bridged the gap between World War I veterans. And then we see treaties such as the Five-Power Naval Treaty, which basically set limits on how many battleships. And understand this, during that time, battleships were the thing to have. It was like, oh my god, you have like 10 battleships, oh my god, so good. But what it did was, it said for every 5 battleships that America builds, Britain can build 5, Japan can build 3, and France and Italy can build, I think it's 3 and 1, not sure about that, but don't quote me on that, but that's not that important. The important part is it was an attempt to limit power, and this was made by Secretary Hughes, yeah. So it was a way to limit world wars, and we see this at the end of World War I. Propositions to limit wars and to limit modern weaponry. Sorry if I'm slouching a bit. My back hurts. Yep, and then the Harding era, President William Harding. The Harding era had one big scandal that you need to know. Secretary of the Interior Albert Fall sold government lands with Harding's signature on it, and it was basically a bribe for oil fields, and he sold it in the Teapot Dome scandal. All you need to know is that it basically killed totally whatever reputation William Harding had. And then we have Coolidge, and Coolidge really didn't do much. Then we have Fighting Bob La Follette, and Coolidge, the Sphinx of the Potomac, who didn't run in 1928 for the presidential candidacy. And then we see Herbert Hoover. Now, Herbert Hoover, I'm not going to say much about Herbert Hoover because I have a video on the Great Depression already out there, so check that out if you want more information on the Great Depression. I have videos on World War II, but it's more of a world perspective, so I want to make it from a US perspective, so that's what I'll do. I will go to the US side of World War II in the next video, and I will talk about some World War II again, because it is empirical, and it is a repeating theme in your test, in your AP test, and I will talk about World War II and the shadow of war and all that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next part. Have a nice day.